It's been a while since we talked about the Fantastic Four, so we're going to jump into the Fantastic Four again. I like revisiting old Fantastic Four stories, particularly the ones by Stan and Jack, so that's what we're doing. We could have easily done this issue immediately following the coming of Galactus, but that episode went on so long, and this is a whole episode dedicated to one issue of comics that I was like, thank God we didn't do that. Also, I didn't have it. For whatever reason, it wasn't in the trade collection we had back then, and it was in this Marvel Epic Collection. What's funny about this weirdo Epic Collection is it was out of print for like ever. And so I went to go get it because this is a classic issue of Fantastic Four. It's Fantastic Four number 51, aka This Man, This Monster. And
hey!
Yeah, we talked about this, but in retrospect, because we also covered this amazing original graphic novel from Alex Ross, which is called Fantastic Four Full Circle, which is essentially the, 50-year removed sequel to this story. So now we're going to jump into the original story. So those who weren't on that episode won't have to worry about context.
Sweet.
But those who were on that episode may be able to provide some of that context. So it'll be a true episode of Back Issues where there's going to be context and non-context all over the place.
Don't worry, I don't
shoot
remember
context
anything.
all over your face, neck, and chest. So it's going to be great.
Some nice hot steaming context. White hot context.
It's going to be one of those episodes.
I hope not. This literally comes right on the heels of the coming of Galactus. No pun intended. The Inhumans are in their dome, and incidentally, you'll hear reference to subspace, but not real subspace.
More like
What
dom
do you mean
space.
real subspace?
No.
What is real subspace?
Well, really what I mean is Star Trek
Right,
subspace.
which is not real.
Which is still fake subspace. The negative zone.
Ah.
That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
So when it is referenced in this story, it's subspace is the negative zone.
Yeah, it's not like the microverse or anything.
No. However, in the previous stories, the Inhumans use something called the negative zone.
What?
Just keeping it clean.
I have no idea what you just
it
said.
doesn't mean anything.
Okay.
Just when they say
This is early Marvel. They don't know what they're doing. They're just calling things
Stan and
things.
Jack are just like, I don't know, subspace.
So
That sounds
subspace
good.
is the negative zone, and the negative zone is something
Nothing.
else.
Yeah, it's something else.
But the negative zone is not the negative zone.
Yeah, the negative zone that they use in the Human story is nothing, or another thing that they won't refer to again, done.
Okay.
And the subspace we hear is what will become the negative zone we
negative
all
zone.
know and love, the dwelling place of Annihilus.
Right.
So
Okay.
what we need in context for this story is the Silver Surfer came and harbinged Galactus and then went native when he met Alicia Masters, aka the blind daughter of the Puppet Master and on-again, off-again romance for The Thing, Benjamin Grimm. Ben Grimm is the most insecure character in all of comics, and so when he sees Alicia with the Silver Surfer, despite the fact that she is blind,
He decides to take up skateboarding.
to try and, well, what he's going to do...
like
One extreme sport
sports.
cancels out another
That's
extreme
right.
sport.
And then he's going to challenge him at the rec center and see who's top dog for Alicia's affections. Alicia Masters showed no interest in Silver Surfer outside of humanitarian interest. She's like,
Right.
oh, this poor dear, I'll help him. Things like, there's no way I can compete with the Silver Surfer. I'll just go ahead and break up with her. And by that, I mean, I will just leave. He doesn't even break up with her.
I'll just ghost him.
I will just ghost, and he ghosts everyone. He puts his head against his chest and walks away and leaves for days. And in fact, he's gone in such a big, spectacular fashion that there are news articles written about the Thing wandering the streets of Manhattan, looking forlorn. And this...
So he doesn't go very far.
No, he stays within the 5 boroughs. He's just kind of... I even guarantee he was in the same 2-block radius of Alicia's apartment.
Well, he still has to eat.
And he keeps forgetting that she's blind, so he keeps hoping that she'll see him outside of the window.
No, she'll feel the footsteps tremor through her
Right.
apartment.
Which is actually more likely.
Yeah.
She'll hear the blood-curdling screams of the people who see his
It's
horrifying
horrible
visage. Yeah,
Naturally.
that's what he thinks. Anyway.
That's what he thinks. If he just said, Alicia, what you doing with this smooth, non-genitalia spacefarer? She'd be like, nothing. Except she's a woman written by Stan Lee in these stories. She'd be like, oh, Ben, why would you feel that way? I love you. Or she's an idiot. She's either lovesick or stupid. I feel really bad for Sue in these stories.
What do you mean?
Especially in this one. Sue is,
Oh boy.
it's horrible. It's just horrible. But anyway,
Sal, women aren't characters. They're plot devices.
they're plot devices and or trophies.
It's a lot easier that way. Then you don't have to understand them.
Well, and there's
You just write them
How could I possibly get into their mind?
Yeah.
The Thing is sad, and he's wandering the streets of Manhattan, and in a previous issue, some dude who never gets a name in the most infamous Fantastic Four story of all time, arguably, he's like, the Thing is sad. Now I can hatch my nefarious scheme. And you as the reader are like, oh man, that's okay.
The Thing was the one thing stopping you?
Yes.
Not the fact that the Thing was stopping him, just the fact that he was happy.
Yeah. No, I can use this. This is all part of my ridiculously circuitous scheme to get revenge
On
the Fantastic Four / Reed Richards.
It's been a while since we've had a ridiculously circuitous
I
scheme.
agree. And this is actually, it's a lot more straightforward than most, but it does require him to clandestinely read about the Thing, who is, for no good reason, wandering New York for so long that it's capturing the imagination and attention of people like J. Jonah Jameson, who's like, hey, table Spider-Man for today. I need to write about the Thing who's wandering the streets of New York looking sad. Okay. So, but arguably the most iconic page in Fantastic Four history is the first page, which says, "This man, this monster." It showcases the Thing, sad in the rain, in the night.
Ew.
In a deluge.
Yes.
There's a lot of rain.
Now, what's interesting about this is that it is also the impetus behind one of the chapters in Peter David's book about writing comics, which is called Writing for Comics by Peter David. And in it, he talks about the beginning and structure of creating a story and a narrative.
But a bad title for your book.
I think it's a fantastic title because you know exactly what you're getting when you see it. You're like, writing for comics? Oh, who wrote it? Oh, Peter David. Okay.
Nice.
I mean, like...
That's a horrible cover, but
yeah.
you know what? It's kind of like a textbook, so I guess that makes sense.
That's right, and it is treated as
For an
such.
instructional.
Like, lest it trick a young, aspiring comic book creator into thinking that it will be majorly entertaining.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not fun.
It is.
This is data.
I mean, okay, there are some writing tomes that are straight up data textbook nonsense. This is written entirely by Peter David, and so there is his witticisms and fun weaved throughout.
And there's some show and tell as well.
Absolutely. Actually, in the chapter that he describes this man, this monster, he also likens it to one of the most perfect exposition dumps in cinema history in The Great Muppet Caper.
What?
In which Lady Holiday proceeds to explain her family history and her relationship with her brother, to which Miss Piggy replies, "Why are you telling me all this?" And Lady Holiday says, "Well, it has to go somewhere, it's exposition." And it's like, thank you.
Yeah. It's like, you wouldn't be saying this.
No
Why
one
are
would
they
say
saying
this.
this? This is
He
ridiculous.
also brings up the fact in Act 3 that most lives don't get an Act 3, and so things in Act 2 don't pay off in Act 3 in all of our lives, which is why they seem weird and hollow to us, but also why we need them in our stories, because otherwise the story can never conclude. So, you know, these are fun tidbits you might learn in Writing for Comics by Peter David, a book out of print for more than 10 years. So the story opens with this thing, and the reason why I haven't brought it up is because David describes it as like, the Thing could have been in a sequence on a sunny day, standing there, but based on his face and the setting, we wouldn't necessarily know that he's sad, or at the very least, it wouldn't convey the true despondent feelings that he has, unless it was in this kind. Like, look at
It
him.
wouldn't read as well.
It's raining. It's dark. He's sad. We get it.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's adding insult to injury.
Exactly.
If you put that in a sunny day with happy people behind him, he just looks like a weirdo.
Exactly, and it might actually that could be fun.
That sets a different it sets a different tone, right?
Yes, it
'Cause
should-
then it's like ironic.
It's contrasting.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
And you're like, oh, this might be
is-
like a funny book or
Right.
something.
No,
Yeah.
and it is funny, but not for the reasons we think. By the way, this is co-plotted, I think, by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby obviously drew it, but also I think he and Stan worked much more in tandem to make this. So Thing is sad, and he's been sad, as we know, for days. And he hasn't checked in with the Fantastic Four since they defeated Galactus.
Wow.
It's gonna be great.
He's suffering the post giant confrontation
No!
with existential
No, he's
doom
still.
blues.
I wish that were the case. He's like,
it's literally
what folly
just-
is man? I met God and he tried to eat us. You know,
Right.
I'm in a Lovecraftian quandary. No, he's sad because he misread a situation that was fueled entirely by his crippling insecurities, and then made decisions for his girlfriend, which again is total misogyny. in a book where we're supposed to feel bad for this character, and now he's just been like kicking rocks the whole damn weekend.
Yeah, so he's a child.
I mean, he's a man-child.
Yeah.
So he's sad.
Monster child.
That's true. So he's wandering through the streets, and a couple of cops see him, and they're like, that must be the thing. It ain't Halloween, as if to compound the fact that he is a monster. And, you know, if ever he could find solace in the arms of a regular-looking person, let these policemen set
Dissuade
that
you
to
of
bed.
that, yeah.
So,
Well, not only that, but like the only time we see characters like this is around Halloween.
That's true.
It ain't Halloween.
Right.
So that's got to be the
So
thing.
therefore, it's
you
really
live
him.
in New York in the Marvel Universe, and it's been long enough where a space god came to eat you, so I think at this point,
Whoa,
if you
whoa.
see a superhero, you can assume it's the real deal.
I see superheroes doing things. This is a
guy's
superhero
just walking
around.
Yeah, so the cops flag him down like, hey man, you okay? You seem kind of sad. And he's like, you'd be sad too if you looked like me. And they're like, okay, well, I don't have time for
True.
that. They just drive away.
I guess I would be sad, yeah. Bye.
Fair enough. Oh, look, I think we got a,
Yo, we got a
Breaker
1013.
9, we got a 1092.
Do you want me to help
all
with that?
that.
No, it's okay. So anyway, he clandestinely passes the doorway of the mysterious gentleman from a previous story that we never really saw outside of one panel in which he's like, yes! And he's like, hey, you seem pretty sad. Come into my house.
Oh.
And
What?
the thing's like, okay.
This is New York. You don't trust that.
No, especially in 1960,
Especially if you're the
whatever.
thing.
Especially if you're the thing. Why not? You have nothing to fear. You're a rock man. You're stronger than most.
I would assume at this point that it's a supervillain.
Well, and you would be assuming correctly. So this guy is like, yes, he's in my house, sweet. And it's like, well, what's gonna happen here? Also, the thing is groggy and tired because this character, who will get a name, but not until 2 or 3 years ago, whose name is Ricardo Jones.
Oh. Is he an alien? It looks like he's going to be an alien.
He is not an alien. He's just drawn by Jack Kirby.
Now I remember.
Yes, Ricardo Jones.
Yes!
So Ricardo Jones had created a device that subtly drew the thing towards his domicile.
What?
It was a magnet.
Like a psychic?
Yeah, more like a psychic wave that was like, come here, you know, and wasn't like the machine that the chameleon builds that communicates with Spider-Man because it's on the same frequency as insects and
spiders?
arachnids talk to each other.
Right.
But it's the same kind of principle because
Is
it's all
it like-
made up nonsense.
Right.
This is the sub-frequency that rocks communicate.
Exactly.
So like
How do you get little rocks? I mean, they need to communicate.
So like he's seen images of this guy's apartment in his head, and he's
Yeah.
like sculpting them out of mashed potatoes
Or-
and stuff, and he's got
maybe
like, I
it's-
gotta go there.
Exactly. I also love it because Jones sees Thing. He's in the apartment, but he's like, okay, I just gotta be really careful about this. Gotta play real cool. It's gonna happen. Okay. No, chill out. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. He's just so psyching himself up.
It's like, I'm so ready. It's fine.
Hey, come into my apartment. You look sad.
He's already in the apartment, so he's like, all right, you want some tea? Drink it right now. Just drink it.
Hey, Thing. Come into my apartment real quick.
Jimmy Fallon's summoning him into his place.
It's coming inside.
It's coming in, yes! So he offers him some tea, and the Thing's like, I don't drink tea. You know, obviously.
Tea is for pansies.
Tea is for sissies, he didn't say it, but we all know what he's thinking. And he's like, all right, well, how about coffee then? You want some coffee? He's like, there's not enough coffee in the world that'll make me, never, you know what, I'm gonna
But I'll try it.
I'm not
Only
even
if it
gonna
makes
finish
me
that
into a man again.
Ironically, we'll see where this goes. But he's like, I'm starting to sound like a soap opera, and I'm like, no, you aren't starting to sound like a soap opera. You've been a soap opera. Now you sound egregious. So he's like, all right, and he goes, so why do you want me in your apartment anyway? What do you casted for
What's
a
the
freak
big
show?
idea? Oh. Yeah.
Did Thing take the time to look at this man at all?
Right? Because yikes.
Yeah, there's something wrong with this guy.
He'll explain why he looks like that, kind of.
Oh.
Or at least why he wants the Thing in his apartment. But he says, no, you and I have a kinship. I too have been rejected. And he starts to go into it where he's like, I'm a scientist, but I never actually got the accolades. And Thing's like, whoa, I thought we were talking about me.
Oh my God.
Because he's like, I don't want to hear about Reed Richards again. I've heard enough about Reed Richards. I work with the guy. I want to sleep with his wife. I mean, whatever, never mind. So he's like, oh, man, if only I had Reed Richards' money and equipment. And wife, I guess, but mostly just the stuff he has, because I am just as smart, if not smarter than he is, but I live in a lowly apartment and I don't have like a building with my name on it. I would never think to call myself Mr. Fantastic.
What a pretentious guy, right? I mean, he won't even turn his friend back into a human form.
More or less, that's a Doctor Doom angle. Doom really likes to play that up. He's like, you won't turn you back into a human. What a loser.
Because you're more useful to him this way.
Well, that's very true. And as Neil Gaiman would say, because he's more interesting that way. And he's right. So
thematically, you can't become a human again because the readers, if there were any,
Yes.
would find you more boring.
it's true. So Jones is like, man, the Reed Richards is so great. He has such amazing technology. He can perform miracles. And Thing goes, well, let's just cool it with the Reed Richards stuff. I'm gonna get out of here. You know what? Thanks for the coffee, but this got weird. This whole interaction never started at normal. So I'm gonna go. And as he's on his way, he's like, whoa. You look a little tired. You want to like lie down on my couch, fall asleep? And he's like, I mean, I don't, but I'm kind of tired, and I think I will.
Now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, so he does, and he's like, finally, he's asleep.
Finally.
I can get him. Like, what are you doing, Jones?
Is it possible that the Thing started his wandering because of the machine that the guy turned on or whatever that
easily
drew
could
him
have.
in?
It could have
Like
just
maybe it's not
taken-
the Thing's fault entirely that he's like mopey.
I mean, no.
I mean, he's mopey, but like he would be. But the fact that he just left,
Yeah.
maybe that he just
He started to leave. Okay, I am willing to give you 50% confidence that he may have been the whole damn journey is Jones's fault. But this is not the first or last time the Thing has wandered off because he's sad.
Right.
But it has been a obsessive amount of time. I mean, like you're walking for 24 hours. What is this, Forrest Gump? Like, no. At this point, although I'm surprised he doesn't have like followers who are just like, follow the Rock Man. He'll lead us to salvation.
I mean, they did, and he scared them off.
He's like, get away
yelled
from
at
me!
oh, follow the
like a
freak. Is that what we're doing?
Follow the freak! That's our first commandment!
Their little children
Yeah.
were like laughing and skipping along.
Yeah, they're pushing
They scared them
wheels.
off.
Exactly. Playing hopscotch. I'm just
No,
trying
every
to-
once in a while they try and get ahead of him and put pennies down in the path to
Oh,
see
to
if he'll
crush him?
crush them.
That's such a great idea. I love that. I am going to unveil my duplication machine, which I love that he keeps in his closet. It takes up the entire volume of the closet.
Sal, that's just smart New York living.
I mean, it is. But he did lose an entire closet. What the hell is he going to do with all of his wardrobe? But he's like, all right, I'm going to use this. It's taken many months of planning, so you may be onto something here. But he's like, he used his subliminal influencer, short range, I might add,
Right.
to lull the Thing here. And the plan is he's going to use his duplicator to steal the Thing's visage. And part of the reason why it's going to work is because they have a similar skeletal structure, as you could see.
What?
Like he's drawn to look a little like the Thing, and he's
Oh.
like, my ability to rob the Thing of his look, of his physical image, will be better suited for me because I kind of look like him already.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to steal anyone else's features except maybe Mole Man.
I could do it, but it wouldn't be as one-to-one. It wouldn't be as perfect.
You wouldn't buy it as much.
And
yeah,
you're like,
I'd look off.
You
Right.
mean like the eye ridge thing that he has,
That's what I'm
right?
talking about.
That's
Well, and the
other
lack of
than
hair.
Right.
And while you may not have noticed it earlier, he's also shredded.
Okay, because he doesn't look at all shredded there.
Yeah, but when
where
he takes
he's
his shirt
next
off,
yeah, but
it's
then
just a really big.
then he's
loose-fitting
suddenly
shirt.
shredded.
That's right. And so he puts this machine on. And I love Kirby machines. They just got antennae and tubes. But I always thought that this was going to be some kind of like a holographic projector, not unlike the kind that like Nightcrawler uses in X-Men Evolution. where
Okay.
It's like I'm a blue fuzzy elf, but I have this thing that makes me look like a regular person. No, this and also okay, so he's going to look like the Thing. If you're going to look like the Thing, why do you need to steal the Thing at all? This machine that Ricardo Jones builds in his apartment and fits into his closet steals the Thing's rockiness and applies it to himself. Now, it's not like but if you're looking for some kind of like, the rocks are flying off of me, and no, it's just Ricardo turns into the Thing as he activates the machine. There he is.
He could have done the same thing with some glue and pebbles.
No, it would not.
Orange paint.
But when he does it, the Thing turns back into Ben Grimm. Ricardo Jones has done the impossible and has cured the Thing of his thingness. Now,
It's a
Wow.
switcheroo.
it's a switcheroo. Now, the deal is, it'll only work if you transfer Ben Grimm's thingitude to someone else.
It has to go somewhere.
It has to go
it
somewhere.
Needs a host.
This
Yeah,
is like
it needs a host.
This is like a cosmic ray stealer.
Yeah, but only if the cosmic ray affects Ricardo the same way it did the thing.
Well, I
It's-
assume someone else could also get that,
right.
but they wouldn't look like the thing. They would just look like their version
thing,
of the thing.
which has happened.
Is it tailored to his thinginess, or could it work on Mr. Fantastic and rob him of his stretchiness?
That's a great question.
And
we
I
never get to find out.
I assume it could.
I would hope so, but he does call it an imaging shifter. Like, it is a thing about how you look, not about.
What?
But
But
it steals his powers, and Jones wasn't counting on that. He just is counting on looking like the thing.
okay, so it doesn't do what he invented it to do.
No.
Well,
So it's
kind
actually
of
a failure.
It does succeed in making him look like the thing. He's just
Yeah.
like, oh, and as a side effect,
I've cured
the
Ben
thing
Grimm.
is Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Now I know. Well, I mean, I guess
and I
everyone
am-
knew who the thing was.
They did.
But,
Well,
but
and-
that's not imaging.
No, it's not. No.
That's something entirely different.
It's completely different. Look, if you read this with no dialogue, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
He makes a machine that steals the thing. Stan's
It's still
the one
imaging.
who makes it imaging.
Plastic surgery is imaging.
Right.
It's just imaging that is permanent.
Yeah, but it doesn't take it from someone else. It's not like taking the essence of someone else's
Right.
physical appearance.
I want to look like Taylor Swift. It's like, okay, we're gonna have to get T Swift in here
Yeah.
to make that happen. What? Yeah, well, the only way my machine works is if we actually take what she looks like and apply it to you.
Well, that's like witchcraft.
But also, then what does she become?
You.
It's lucky that
She's boiled down to, the most basic, unaltered
She
human
will
form.
look like Taylor Swift before she became famous. Like,
Or just like a blank slate
yeah,
person.
she'll look like like a drawing doll. You
like
know?
a putty person or
Yes.
something. Or like Odo from Star Trek.
Precisely.
Wait, the thing has hair underneath all this?
Well, no, it's never underneath. He transformed into the thing, and
Yeah.
as a consequence, lost his hair. When he's no longer the thing, he gets his hair back
gets his
because he
hair
gets his
back.
whole body back,
So his hair like grows?
presumably.
So
Really
it doesn't
fast?
matter if Ricardo Jones had hair. He
No.
would still look like the thing.
Yeah, well, you made up the idea of him shaving his head. I just said he was bald.
But what
Yeah.
doesn't make any
But
sense?
it doesn't matter.
He thought that he would need to look like the thing and have
In order
his,
to take the thinginess.
in order to take it.
But the thing is not going to need to look like Ben Grimm is not going to need to look like the thing to get being the thing back.
No, that's right.
Why does he need to look like the thing to take it, but not to give it back?
I don't know.
Doesn't make any sense.
That's how he explains it.
That's so weird.
Well, Jones clearly doesn't even understand his own technology.
right.
So, Reed at the Baxter Building with Sue is working feverishly on a device that has occupied his time. He's like, I'm gonna have to skip dinner again tonight, Sue. Make it anyway and throw it in the garbage. But so she's
What
like,
could be so important? Are you working on something to turn Ben Grimm back into a person?
no, that's not important, and it never has been, and never will.
No,
be.
and I never will.
No, he is really he is filled with existential dread.
After Galactus.
After Galactus.
Oh,
He's like-
thank God someone is.
He's like, we were hopelessly outgunned against Galactus, and it only worked because we stole a doomsday device from his own ship.
That would
Through-
destroy everything.
Oh, and it would also, I had to
we had to
bluff him by
threaten
destroying
existence.
everything that existed and never will exist.
I really don't want to go to that well too many times.
I would rather not. It upset me to my core.
But it's also a bluff.
Yes.
I'm not going to destroy everything.
I feel like
it's
he
also,
would have.
It was childishly simple if I slip. Like, sometimes when I'm scrolling TikTok, I will just push a button by accident.
right.
And just leave and just lose the video I'm watching. Reed is just like casually distracted. He might hit a button and unmake reality when he was pushing it in Galactus' face.
Hey, the only time Reed is casually distracted is when Sue is around.
Although
She
he's-
wishes.
Yeah, that's true. He is not letting her feminine wiles.
no.
affect him
When
right
she's
now.
around, he's distracted by other things.
Oh, I see.
yes.
So she's like, that's what you said last night, Reed, that we can't have dinner, and the night before that. And he's like, dear, okay, well, but this time I mean it. It's only going to be a little bit. Look, Galactus scared the crap out of me, okay? We were so ill-equipped. We are essentially in a new space race where we need to be more or better equipped than our assailants from the stars. And in order to do that, I need to cross the interdimensional barrier into subspace.
Okay. So he's kind of having the Iron Man MCU reaction to
where
this
he's like
existential threat.
but he's really vague about what he wants to do. And she's like, why do I feel like you're not telling me everything? Is there something about that big machine that's in that locked room you won't let me in? And he goes, how do you know about that? Like, holy shit, dude. So then,
I live here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. I have to increase security.
oh, Ricardo Jones also needed to take elocution lessons to sound like the Thing. Not that he needed to approximate his voice, but rather his intonations and his vernacular.
Yeah, just live on Yancey Street for a year.
That's right. Just shadow a couple of
Well, that
Yancey
makes
boys.
sense because he's trying to impersonate it.
Exactly, because that's the
Okay,
plan. Is he wants to
right.
look? Oh, we didn't really get into his plan. He wants to look like the Thing, go to the Baxter Building, and then infiltrate the lab of Reed Richards, get revenge on Richards, which I presume means killing him, and then taking his work for his own, or having access to his lab. It's very, very.
Is he going to take
slipshod.
on Mr. Fantastic's visage and like
no.
replace him?
Well, he would have to bring him to his apartment because that machine is not transferable. Like,
Well, he was the Thing. He should be able to transport it.
right? That's well, yeah, but look at this thing. Look at how it's like how cemented in this closet it is.
Yeah.
Look, is there any way he could get out without breaking the molding? No. And then he'll lose the security deposit. I get it.
Right, but after he steals all of Reed Richards' inventions, he won't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah, he just wants to be famous. He doesn't want to live in a shitty New York apartment. He wants a big fancy building too.
He
and
does.
government contracts.
Well, that he doesn't mention the contracts, but yes, I think he does. Well, he is so deeply resentful of Reed Richards because he's like, I'm smarter than him, but he's more successful than I am. That's horseshit.
Why don't you go invent something useful then?
Yeah.
Why don't you
I
market
did.
this
I invented
magical
the
device?
machine that drew the Thing to me.
Yeah, well, you could.
He's got a subliminal messaging machine that brings people to you.
An
I'm sure the
imager
military
that-
would love that.
Yeah.
Imager that steals people's powers.
Right? Literally that. Like, if you got Matt Murdock in there, you could have radar sense. You'd probably go blind, but whatever. You know, it's a
And
trade-off.
Matt would be so happy. He'd be like, I can fucking see again.
That's true. Yeah. So anyway, Ricardo as the Thing, and it's just the Thing. We're not even going to pretend like he looks in any way slightly different. But he leaves Ben Grimm asleep on his couch, and then he just goes to the Baxter Building. He's like, "Hey, Stretcho, what's up with this locked door?" Sue is like, "Ben, you're finally back. Where have you been?" And Reed's like, "Yes, I'm glad that you got whatever you were dealing with out of your system." We've no
What a
time.
jerk.
We've no time for prima donnas here.
Oh.
They are old friends, and look, 48 hours wandering New York from
Yeah.
from a perceived rejection
Yeah.
is a bit much.
It is.
But
All I'm
he-
saying
For an
is-
adult man, yes.
he's clearly a sensitive man. I think that it might be a little harsh for Reed, but
Well, and our Earth was almost annihilated.
yeah.
And you just decide to go for a walk?
well, after he did do something about it, but yeah, like
Yeah.
we didn't even get a chance to talk about it. You didn't help me with my machine. I got heavy shit.
Yeah, next time let me know if you're going to take a break for 2 days.
Please. So he's like, relax, man. Anyway, where's the torch? And he's like, oh, he's attending college. He is in the B plot of the story, which is, I am being very generous calling it a plot. But he is in another location for this story, which we will check in on.
Right.
That is the most charity I could give that story.
Okay.
But he's like, anyway, I need you to move this particle smasher. Let's go. He goes, move that? I can't move that. And he goes, no time for jokes, Ben. Don't be such an idiot, okay? You wanted off for 48 hours. Now you're back, and you're pretending like you can't. Just lift the damn thing, okay?
Yeah.
Why do you think I haven't fixed you yet?
Carry your weight around here.
So he lifts it. He's like, oh my God, I can lift it. Because he's like, oh my God, I am the thing. It's
Right.
not that I look
I
like the
didn't
thing.
count on that.
Right. And it's like,
How did you think your device worked?
Right?
And how could it work so differently than you thought?
And my question is also, do you think that the reality of him being the thing will settle in, where he's like, oh my God, I can never not be the thing? Will he have the same reaction as Ben?
Oh.
No, but because he appreciates what he has. He's like,
Right.
this is awesome.
Yeah, he appreciates it for a day.
You know what it is? He doesn't have a libido like Ben. Like, Ben just wants to bang regular chicks, and this guy's like, who has time for that? Science! And it's like, that okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Ben's like,
all right.
yeah, sweet, I'm fleshy again. Let's do this. So he's like, look at this. And then he's like, oh man, I can do it with one hand. I'm super strong. It's like, yeah, I'll bet that's the only thing you do with one hand. And so Reed's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know. What?
And then Ben Grimm shows up and he's like, hey!
What?
Immediately, we throw the whole damn story out the window.
Oh my
Ben Grimm's
God.
there, he's like, stop what you're doing. This dude, like, roofied me, stole my look. And they're like, who the hell are you supposed to be? He's like, I'm
What?
your friend, your lifelong friend. I look like this. It's only been 51 issues. I've looked like this longer than that.
You don't look like that. Ben Grimm looks like a horrible monster.
Yes.
I
yes.
know Ben Grimm. He's
Oh my
hideous.
God, what the fuck?
Yeah. And so, like,
That's amazing.
and Ricardo Jones is like, now that he's realized he's strong, he's like, hey, you know my favorite Aunt Petunia would say about this. He's like, see, he referenced the Aunt Petunia thing. I bet he'll say it's clobbering time next. What do you got, fleshy guy who looks just like my friend from college? But as if to illustrate his
How
point.
could he possibly know you say it's clobbering time?
It's not like you ever say it
No,
anytime,
that's literally
all the time.
your catchphrase. You scream it every goddamn day. I mean, the reality is, Ricardo finds out it was Aunt Petunia because he yells about that too all the time.
Yep.
Next thing you're gonna tell me you're from Yancey Street, but Ricardo picks up like a pipe, which is very important because we're in the locked room. But he crushes it like a piece of paper, and he's like, "See, any questions?"
See, look, he has no regard for my scientific experiments, just like my Ben
Just like
Grimm.
Clearly, Ben.
He just shoots actual Ben.
Put him in the.
That's enough for me.
Put him into subspace. But he's just like, dude, I'm sorry, but your case doesn't hold water. And Ben's like, are you, what?
Look at me.
So he goes, all right, you know what? Whatever happens here, why this guy stole my look, came here, tricked you, whatever, you deserve what you get. I'm leaving, which is like his classic.
Wow.
That should have been the tip-off. Oh, you're leaving in the middle of a crucial point.
Wait a
It is
minute.
Ben Grimm. But he's like, wait. You know what, Ben? It's amazing because he's talking to Ricardo. He's like, you know what, Ben? It's amazing. He almost even sounds like you.
Oh my God, what? I guess to Reed Richards, the fact that he hasn't been able
Yes,
to
that's
get rid of the thing, he's like,
100%.
that's impossible.
It's impossible you're Ben Grimm because the only person who could cure you is me.
And I didn't.
And I didn't, so you're not. You piece of shit.
Narcissistic asshole.
Well, and if you think about it,
love
He's
that
not
idea.
wrong. I
It's-
mean, he doesn't even say that, by the way. This is all
Right.
conjecture,
Right,
but it's
that-
solid.
How great would that be?
It's 100% right.
it would be easier for like a person to make themselves look like
The Thing.
his friend Ben Grimm.
Oh, I guess that's true,
Than
yeah.
it would be for a person to pretend to be the Thing and like actually have super strength and stuff.
true, yeah.
You know, like it's like, well, how could he possibly have gotten that super strength if he's not
Yeah.
Ben Grimm the Thing?
Right.
You must have done plastic surgery or something to look like my friend. Like,
Yeah.
who are you, Dr. Doom or something?
Exactly.
A villain of some kind?
Yeah. He doesn't even threaten him. He's just like, what are you doing, buddy? Get the hell out of here. Before I call security. So Reed's like, all right. I love the expedience through which Reed needs to conduct this experiment. He's like, I have to discover and conquer subspace. Not conquer it like I'm going to kill everybody there.
Right, master it.
Once I master it. But
I'll
he's like,
send in a little insect first with a little power suit on to test it out first.
Right.
And that becomes an nihilist.
oops. No, he's just like, he starts putting shit on. He's like, all right, well, I'm going in. And like, whoa, what are you doing? He's like, I got to go into subspace and figure it out because there's no time. Like, God
Right.
came and
He
tried
might
to
come
eat
back.
us.
Yeah.
We don't know. And that's true.
Or another one might come. I might have to make another deal with another. I'm not
Well,
doing
it's
that
like, I
again.
made a deal with God. That's really shaky ground already.
Right.
And Sue's like, what? This is the first I'm hearing that he might welch on that deal? I'm scared into madness again. Like,
Oh my god. So you don't have time for this. You have to make dinner.
Never does that happen. But he's like, all right, I gotta go. So he turns it on and activates the machine.
Oh
and
my
we see
God.
this like insane Jack Kirby-esque thing that is science.
Does Ricardo
Sure.
Jones suddenly realize he's out of his league? Where he's like,
He might as well.
holy shit.
Oh my God, this is leagues past my closet machine that I don't even know how it works or what it does. Yeah, no, but he is taking inventory of the things that's happening. He's like, man, Reed is such a dick. I'm right to hate him.
Look at the way he treats his wife and his friend.
The wife thing
and
never
the
comes-
stranger
he's
who
like,
wandered
well,
in.
Yeah, look at how he treats his best friend. I mean, naturally he treats Sue like that because she's a woman, and obviously we all would. But
Well, also like, oh my God, my plan backfired spectacularly. Except Reed is such an asshole he couldn't even recognize.
like I didn't count on him just coming here and calling my bluff immediately. But
He was supposed to be
Yeah.
out for days.
right, but he's so.
He was like this close to
arrogant.
being like, all right, you got me.
Right,
And
he
then
was like,
Reed
oh,
like
crap.
starts yelling at the guy.
He's like, oh my God, how is this possible? So there's a subplot. We need to break things up for no reason.
Right.
Johnny is having a phosphate at the diner with Wyatt Wingfoot, friend
Who?
and nobody.
Hell.
He's a character.
good
that
guy,
hangs-
bad guy?
He's a good guy.
Okay.
He hangs out with the Fantastic Four. He's built like a brick shithouse. He's essentially Johnny's security team. The antagonist of this subplot is Whitey Mullins, who is the B-Mock. He's the true football star.
I see.
And he resents the fact that Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, celebrity and superhero, is on his team because he's getting all the accolades. He might be getting the ladies next.
Right.
Also,
Ooh.
maybe he's cheating with his, flame feet or something.
Yeah, maybe. Right? I mean, he could
You don't
fly.
know.
But he has no patience for Johnny. He's also right next to Johnny, like they're in the same booth essentially, and Whitey is just going off on how Johnny Storm sucks and what a loser he is, and all the girls who are around him are like, well, you could go give him some shit right now because he's right next to you, Whitey. So Whitey's like, hey Johnny, you suck, and Johnny's like, cool.
You're like, what?
I don't care.
I have no regard for you.
Yeah.
I fought Dr. Doom. You're not gonna goad me into a fight, Whitey.
Also, we're teammates, man.
Right, exactly. Come on.
Yeah.
Camaraderie.
They're like, come on, we'll do some fire stuff. Like, set yourself on fire. And if this was in a different time, he might give them a flaming finger, but instead he just goes, and he sets his thumb on fire while drinking a cup of coffee. Total pimp move. Just here you go.
As we all know now, the thumbs up means fuck off.
Apparently. I mean, only in emoji form. But yes, if you respond to any message with a thumbs up, you're being just grotesquely passive aggressive. Whatever. So yeah, which he is in this story, by the way.
Yeah.
So Whitey's like, lol, and then pours water on his head. And it's like,
What?
What are you doing, man?
Water beats fire.
That's right.
What?
And this is so real. It's triggering me. Where they're like, "Oh, look at him freak out, Whitey! You really got him that time. He's panicking." And they're like, "What the?" And Johnny's like, "I'm doing nothing of the sort. Like, what are you talking about?" They're like, "Oh my God, look at him!" And it's like, "Wow, that's
very
so
real.
accurate. It makes me upset." So then Wyatt's like, "That's enough," and he gets up. And he's like 8 feet tall. And he's like, "What's up? Hey, yo, Whitey, can I talk to you for a second?" And they're like, "Holy crap!" They're like, all right, look at that. The Human Torch is bringing out a security team. And he's like, I don't need a security team.
I didn't say shit.
This is my friend Wyatt. What's wrong with you? And they're all like, boo, you suck. He's like, hey, listen, Whitey, we can go outside, talk about this if you want. It's cool. I don't care. And so then the coach shows up.
It's got to put a stop to this.
Yeah, the coach's like, hey, everybody, watch it.
Save it for the big game.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yes. And so Whitey's like, all right, well, I'm cutting out. I don't need any of this crap. And he wanders off, and the coach is like, excuse me, who are you, giant college-age boy? And he's like, I'm Wyatt, waiting for you. He's like, oh my God!
I'm Wyatt. I'm also like probably 40.
No, he's in
I'm
his...
certainly drawn that
he's
way.
In his late,
Like, I just think I found my star center.
well, yes. The coach's like,
I recognize that bulk anywhere.
exactly. He's like, no, you're one of the Wingfoots. Dude, you are decathlon levels strong. Join the football team and kick ass for me. He's like, no, thanks. I don't want to do that. If this is the caliber of people that play football, I don't play sports. I don't care. I'm big. That doesn't mean I will play sports. I'm just big.
I have no interest in it.
Exactly. I'm not interested. Bye. And so the coach goes back to his seat. He's like, please. Wyatt's like, go away. You're a stranger to me. I don't care. And so he wanders off, and the coach goes back to his seat at this this coffee shop. And his wife's like, what's wrong with you? You look like you're freaking out. And the coach is like, I need that man on my football team. Because I'm close to retirement and I had one glorious win, and I'll be the villain of this story.
I've seen every football movie. I need to go out on the wings of glory.
Yes, a wing foot of glory, if you will.
Yes, and the key to victory is a person who's never played before,
but is big enough,
but has some attribute that is extreme enough that it will fit into this patchwork cluster of misfits that we call a team.
That's right.
And that'll put us over the top.
Look at him.
I've seen this movie.
Wringing his hands.
I've got to get him to play.
That's so
I
weird.
will find him and get him.
Yeah, and like
Nobody says no to me. Nobody.
Nobody says no to the coach. Nobody says no to Coach Thorpe, a classic Fantastic Four villain. So anyway,
Sweet.
Reed is like, all right, I got my helmet on. I'm going into subspace. Sue at 4 different times.
You need a helmet? What's happening? This is crazy.
There's air there. This is a smart move.
Exactly. No, she's like, let me go with you. Says it at least 4 times. And he's like, no, get away from me. That's it. But he's
what? Because it's so dangerous? No, I just don't want your prattling distracting me while I'm over there.
There's no dinner in there. I don't need you making anything in there. Otherwise, what else would you do?
You understand? I put the helmet on so I couldn't hear you anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry, I'll be back before 6, just in time for dinner. You don't need to worry about that.
But he's just like, no. His reasons are altruistic. He's like, I don't want you to get hurt, and I'm being reckless by needing to conquer subspace.
Right.
I'm not going to rope my wife into
Right, I realize that this is a bad idea.
Yes.
And
Do
that
they
I'm
have
obsessed.
kids by this point?
No.
Okay.
No. But Ricardo is listening in on this. And by the way, he didn't have a name up until a couple of years ago. So for the longest time in This Man, This Monster, the guy who would be the Thing is listening in on this conversation. So the whole time you're talking about this, like, oh yeah, and that guy.
Yeah, Thing 2.
Right.
That weirdo.
So he's listening in on this and he's like, this dude is like, he can't weaponize, monetize that thing he built. He built this machine in secret to save us from unknown existential threats from the stars and beyond.
What a putz!
For no reason.
No, for good reason.
Well,
but,
yeah,
like,
for no benefit.
For no benefit.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit! Because like all I could think of is benefit, except that's not
Right.
true. Because if you did, you would have monetized any of the inventions you made leading to this point. But obviously, Ricardo isn't exactly like a planner.
Right.
He's not. He doesn't think things through, as you'll see later on.
Yeah.
But
So he's like,
he's like,
maybe I'm the bad guy.
yes, he's starting to come around on Reed Richards. Yeah, maybe he's arrogant because he's smart.
Right. Like me.
Like me. Like I get that. But
Right.
also like he's not trying to he's not gonna he would never think to steal the face of his friend and or his enemy's friend and then try and steal everything he has. Like
Right.
he's not this kind of guy. I thought he was like me. Like that, and that's kind of like how he justified all his things.
He's like, it's all just about power, who
Yeah.
has it or whatever. But it's like, oh no, he's actually a good person.
Right. And he's like,
Right.
oh. So Reed gets into the machine, and the process through which he goes into subspace or the negative zone is really fun. Like he gets into this big goddamn cube machine, and he pulls the lever, and he's enveloped in Kirby crackles.
He's just like, whoa.
Just like it's like he's in a submarine, and he's like in an anti-pressure chamber. Like it just fills with shit, like space shit or subspace shit.
And what is he hoping is going to happen here?
Right. He's
Like, what is his plan? How is this going to save the galaxy or the Earth from some future threat?
I don't know. And neither does he. He wants.
It's like, it's a thing. I know it's there.
I have to find
Maybe it'll
it.
help me somehow.
Right, yeah. And he's not wrong because Annihilus is in there, but he won't find him until later. But
If I can find something in subspace, then maybe I can find something to counter God.
right. I mean,
Right.
he is definitely trying to fight God or Galactus.
Right. I
Yeah, he's
can't
like-
find anything on Earth that'll help me, so maybe this other place.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking for some kind of weakness.
Exactly. So, in addition to needing the thing to lift things for him, he also has a crucial role to play in his exploration of subspace because he has a long cable attached to his spacesuit, and he's going to need to tug on it when he wants the thing to reel him in. Winches can't have a crisis of faith because they're
And
going
forget to pull me in.
Right. Ricardo's like, this is the perfect opportunity. Oh my God. Like, he's going into a place.
He's gone.
Right.
I could kill him and no one will know.
Exactly. People can
Yeah.
just assume that I failed.
Right. That it was an accident.
This is so fortuitous for me. But
Oh, the line frayed, Sue. I'm sorry.
exactly. So he's like, this is great. So, Reed keeps reiterating that this line is really important. I'm going to tug on it, pull me in. Don't let me die out here in subspace.
Good thing my best friend in the whole world, who I don't even recognize, is at the other end of
That's
this
right.
thing.
That's right. So he's enveloped in Kirby Crackle, and then he ends up like in this insane place, and he's like, this place is so crazy, it's almost too much to bear with my own human eyes. Like, I'm going insane looking at it.
That's great.
And so he's like, if it weren't for that line tethering me to reality, I would be lost forever. It's like, okay. So he just,
Maybe you should have had a backup then. Maybe once you realize that, you're like, okay, I gotta
know what?
come back in
Pull
a
me
little
back
more
in.
prepared.
yeah, maybe a ray gun.
A little thruster or something.
Yeah, some jets.
Any- Anything?
No. So he just keeps going. By the way, how the hell long is this goddamn cable? But he goes in. to
It's
see,
made from his own skin, so it's as long as he needs
Oh,
it to
that,
be.
it's just Johnson. It's just so he goes further into subspace, and we see that like Kirby likes to use collage and real art within his pieces, and we'll see that homaged in Full Circle, the sequel to this. But like, yeah, it's just kind of cool to see like this.
It's like cool floating shit,
Oh, and
rings and
Epcot's in there.
globes.
That's
and,
pre-Epcot. So there he is, and he's going for it. He's like, "Woo, this is crazy."
And now there's some rocks.
Yes. Well, these okay. So here's the
Ben,
thing.
you should be in here. You'd feel at home.
I saw a real sexy number out here with a couple of mounds you might be interested in. Lol, little rock humor. I could trade barbs with my best friend in the whole wide world, who I don't know what he looks like when he's not that. So this is where things get weird because like he's on Earth and he goes into subspace, and when he's in subspace, he goes so far in that he's now outside of Earth itself, and but because he's on another dimensional plane, he can see Earth, and subspace rocks and particles are being thrust at Earth itself and exploding. So he's like, okay, I need to
Okay,
get the
this
hell
is
out
weird.
of here because I'll be pulled towards Earth's gravity and explode just like all these subspace antimatter particles and rocks are. And I guess they
What? So it's not, but it's not really Earth then.
It is Earth, but on another dimension. So like I can
Oh,
see
it's
real
another
Earth.
Earth.
It's our Earth,
But stuff's exploding on it.
But it's a different dimension.
but it's on a different dimension, so it's okay.
For Earth.
Oh, it's like stuff from another dimension exploding when hitting it.
Yeah.
So Earth doesn't even see that happening.
Yes.
It's
Or
like the
experience.
It's like
Langoliers.
invisible things. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like ghosts.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they're here, but
They're
they're
ghost
not.
rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on a different
But
plane of
since
existence.
I'm here, I will impact it and die.
Yes. Yes. Whereas this is a normal Tuesday in the negative zone
Right.
because you're made of antimatter, and since subspace all matter is negative and Earth is positive, it's causing the explosions.
But how is he seeing the Earth when
Right, when he's already left it. Like no, it's he's here, he goes in and then ends up back around, but he's seeing Earth through the eyes of this other dimension. Like it's like he could see. Like, well, I would argue that it's like a piece of transparency paper over a picture.
So if he went down into this Earth
Right.
and found the Baxter Building, would he find himself with like a
He'd see
with like a
he'd
line?
see the cable, yeah. But he wouldn't be seeing him. Yeah, he'd see.
Well,
the
yeah,
cable.
he'd see Ben.
There wouldn't be like a
holding-
duplicate of himself. It's just
Right.
himself. But then, in full circle, Alex Ross will have them return to Earth in the antimatter negative zone, and that is a mirror of real Earth, but populated by antimatter negative zone beings.
Right.
Is it the same one as the sequel? Who gives a shit? For all intents and purposes in this story, it's what we're describing, where it is the Earth that we all live on and that they live on here in this comic book, and he's just seeing it from another vantage point.
Okay.
But yes, he would see himself if he was going.
Yeah. If he went down there and saw Ben Grimm and
He'd know
with
that
the
he's-
cable, and he grabbed the cable and pulled on it, would he feel the cable
I don't
pulling
think
on
he'd
his?
be able to interact with it. That's the thing.
I
But
guess
he
not,
wouldn't
'cause
even make it
he'd
to
be a
Earth because
ghost.
everything's exploding.
Yeah, he'd
Yeah,
explode.
once it hits the
on him.
atmosphere or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So he's like, I gotta get out of here. So he starts tugging on it, and the thing is holding the line. Well, Ricardo's holding the line, and he's not pulling it in. He's like, okay, he's tugging. This is my chance.
That's right.
To kill
Right.
him.
All I have to do is not pull him in.
Yeah, but I don't envy him anymore because I know that he is an altruist and I'm a dickhead.
Oh.
Like, he is so unselfish. And meanwhile, Sue is next to him going, why aren't you pulling in the line? Like, it looks like you're having some kind of existential crisis. And it's so great to see him.
Why don't you pull in the line,
Look at
Sue?
him having all these years when I thought that I was the superior to Reed Richards. She's like, please pull the line in.
For the
He's
love
like,
of God.
Oh my God, what fate is man? I never saw some things more clearly before.
Well, he's
yes, exactly.
Are you even listening to me?
Yeah.
You're acting like Reed.
It's like, well, I mean, he is like his intellectual equal. It's like, that's it. I will do it. I will pull in the line, and the line snaps.
Oh.
He goes, I waited too long. Oh no!
What?
Why would the line snap? Because you waited too long.
Because we needed it too.
They didn't show you, but it was gradually fraying. If it was a movie, you'd see close-ups of it with the little fibers
sure,
starting
yeah.
to snap as he's thinking, but we didn't.
He just says, I waited too long. It snapped.
I waited too long.
And so Sue's like, I gotta go in there. He needs me. And he's like, don't.
No.
I'll go.
Oh. Okay.
So he leaps into the negative zone, grabbing the frayed line that's attached to Reed. So it like pulls him through the negative zone.
Oh.
And because he's made of rocks, he doesn't have to worry about like breathing and stuff.
Great, now you're both lost and dead.
That's right. So he goes in and he's
Wait.
like, ah.
He needs to breathe, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
But
okay.
but in this he doesn't because it's the negative zone. It's okay. Reed was
I
being
see.
precautious, whereas the thing is like,
Oh, Reed didn't actually need the helmet, but he
it doesn't look like he does. Yeah, that's true. So he goes in, Reed pulls him over to the rock. He's like, Ben, what are you doing here, man? No!
You were supposed to pull me in.
You fool! No, he doesn't even, he doesn't blame him. He's just like, it must have snapped. I'm so sorry. I didn't want you. This is why I didn't want anyone to follow me, because now your fate is tied to mine, and we're both doomed, Ben, doomed! Ricardo's like, all right. And he picks him up, and he points him at where he left, and he's like, later, and he throws him.
Oh my God.
And as he's throwing him, Reed's like, what are you doing, Ben? And he's thinking to himself, the only worthwhile thing I ever did in my whole wasted life.
Wow.
This is the lesson that Ricardo learns. I envied Reed Richards. I hated him. I violated the laws of man and rocks to infiltrate his lair. I betrayed his friendships. And then I learned that he is not only my equal, but my superior in immorality. And so
But not intelligence!
Right, and so thus I die. No, he definitely...
Right.
He definitely dwarfs him in intelligence. I couldn't build this goddamn machine that gets me into the negative zone. So then he just sits on a rock and waits for death as he's is pulled towards the magnetism of Earth's gravity. And realizes that he is a lucky man at the end of his life because he knew what it was like to have a friend.
Well, not really.
No. So while...
No, to impersonate someone else's friend.
Right. Well, he learned... Well, he did learn it because he saw how Reed treated a friend.
Yeah, for a few minutes, he had some back and forth that was like what a friend would have.
Exactly. And Reed doesn't know that it was not like, I'm a phony!
Yeah.
You know, he just sends him away. So Reed's like, oh my God, Ben sacrificed himself to save me. Meanwhile, Ben Grimm, the real Ben Grimm, he's like, fuck them all. He gets a nice suit and he goes to Alicia's place and he's like, I'm gonna bang the crap out of Alicia because now I look like Ben Grimm and I'm cool.
Right.
So he straightens his tie and he starts to knock on the door, but Ricardo Jones must have died because apparently the way the machine works is if you steal his visage, when you die it goes back where it came from.
Immediately just reverts right back.
So he turns back into
So all the
Makes no
pieces of
goddamn
rock and
sense.
stuff went flying through subspace
mean,
and just stuck on.
right, or it's just
Or there's some kind of mystical link between them.
right.
No, it's the cosmic energy.
The cosmic energy. It's I am teaming with cosmic energy, and my interaction with the cosmic energy makes me the thing. He must have siphoned. Maybe like he's siphoned his particular unique energy signature through the cosmic rays. I've taken his radiation. No.
And then they, when I died over here in the negative zone, they went and sought him out and struck him.
Yeah.
and
Well,
turned him back
no.
into
There
the
was always a
thing.
tether between us.
Yes, that's true.
Oh.
So he turns back into the thing, and he's like,
Damn it!
literally, he's like, I'm the thing again. I guess I'll go back to the Baxter building and clobber the creep who impersonated me.
He looks sadder here than he did
Yeah.
on the cover.
Whoa! What? I was
No.
5 minutes for having
No, there's
sex.
time now.
It's not fair.
Fair. Look at him. His suit's all torn. His shoes are ruined. He's like, no. And he's like
certainly
screaming his head off. And Alicia's like, did I hear something outside?
So that's why it's this man, this monster, is because he becomes a man again.
Yes.
And then a monster
Right,
again.
exactly. Or Ricardo is a monster, but learns what it means to be a man. It's both those things.
Right.
But she's like, oh, I thought I heard someone, but I guess I didn't. And then she thinks to herself,
Open.
Ben, please stop stalking me and come in my house and having just monologues.
How
about your,
old are you? Just come inside.
Come inside.
He's like a puppy. I don't care.
Yeah. She's like, I had the strangest feeling in my heart that it was someone whom I love. And you're like, okay, Alicia, whatever.
All right.
Again, you
deserve
probably
each other.
felt the
I'm
tremors.
very psychic about these things.
So Reed just gets thrown back through the open door. And she's like, Reed, I thought I lost you. Where's Ben? And he's like, oh my God, Ben, he's gone. He saved me. He sacrificed himself to save me. What have I done? And he's crying.
Well,
into
just
his
turn
arms.
off the machine. He'll never get back anyway.
Oh, he's dead. He's like, nope, he's dead. And as he's crying, Sue's like, he left you to die. He didn't pull the line in. And then at the last second tried to do it and it snapped. I don't know what the hell happened to him. And he's like, please, don't make up things about my best friend Ben right now.
Why would you say those horrible lies to me?
Yes. He goes, please, I know you're trying to spare my feelings and make him bear some of the brunt. It was all my fault though, Sue. No. What do we do without him now?
Sue, why must you be such a jealous woman?
Yeah. And so as Reed is monologuing about his friend, now gone, Ben is coming through the door as the thing, and he's like, huh, he does care about me. That's nice. Hey guys. And they're like, what the fuck?
Did you find another entrance back from the negative zone?
They don't even ask. He's just like,
What?
Hey, I told you that guy was a phony.
He's a big fat phony.
He's a big fat, what's wrong with you? And they're like, what?
Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You must have somehow re-entered from the negative zone.
Yeah.
You crashed
No.
into Earth.
It's worse. It's worse than his positing about a back door from the negative zone. Instead, Sue is like, that is the thing. I knew it. I know it anywhere. I know it in my heart. And Reed's like,
You didn't know it before.
and Reed goes, it doesn't make any goddamn sense, but I'll trust your feminine intuition.
Oh my God.
So they all hug him, and and he goes, what the hell happened to the guy? And Reed goes, oh, he freaked out and threw me through the doorway.
Oh, he's quite dead.
Yeah. No, he's like, well, why did he what happened in his last moments of life? He's like, he's rescued me. He's like, damn it, I wanted to punch him.
Now I'll never get to hit him.
Yeah, and they're like, and we'll never talk about that ever again.
Why don't you just go back to his apartment and find someone who's like about to die or something
Yeah.
and switch? Oh no, they have to live.
They'd have to. Well, and also would it work on a corpse?
No, because as soon as the guy died, it reverted back. They have to be alive.
We need to
Find
steal
someone in a
person.
coma.
Yeah, or induce them into a coma. Like find a person.
Yeah.
And then use the machine on him.
Yeah.
And then put them into cryostasis for as long as Ben Grimm wants to live.
You could find someone who would do that.
No doubt.
You could definitely find. You could find a vegetable,
Right.
Or just a guy who's
Right, who's
like,
like,
just,
my life sucks.
if you give me $1 million, I'll do that.
I will.
No, fuck it. Just find someone's family of someone who was in the hospital in
Right.
a coma and be like, hey,
Give them the money.
They're in a coma.
Yeah.
And they're gonna stay in a coma.
Right.
I'm gonna pay you $10 million so I can turn them into a rock monster.
Exactly.
Or you just find someone who wants to be the thing.
Yeah, right.
I guarantee there's a lot of people out there
That's
who would
true.
do that in a second.
That's true. They have a recruitment process where they like find a guy whose like temperament matches the thing that they need, and then they go,
Yeah.
all right, Ben, happy trails.
No, the trouble is he'll
got
never
Steve.
he'll never find the apartment again because the machine that drew him there is
That's-
turned off.
That's true. The machine's off, and nobody knows his name, and so they'll never find the apartment.
Because he didn't have a name until years later.
Until 2018 or whatever. Yeah, Ricardo Jones. Well, and what's interesting is he will get a name in a Spider-Man comic book, because apparently in the Spider-Man comic that happened, I think, in the 90s, Ricardo Jones writes a letter to his brother overseas and is like, I've built my imaging machine. I'm going to infiltrate the Fantastic Four. It's going to be awesome. So then he never hears back from his brother, so he comes to the States assuming the Fantastic Four killed his brother because his plan failed. And so then he finds the machine because he knows where his brother lives, so he goes to get the machine and tries to do it again. And it's stupid because it's a Spider-Man comic and has nothing to do with anything. But we do know his name is Ricardo Jones as a result of that comic book.
Does his brother also look like Ricardo with like heavy brows and no eyebrows?
He has hair
bald?
and he looks, he's of similar stature, but he doesn't look exactly like Ricardo now.
Okay.
It's just like, why did you do that? It too is one issue.
Now I have this little palate cleanser story.
Yeah, there's a little,
You know,
there's a
little
little
stakes are a little
timeless-
bit lower.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an intimate, family story. So
This issue is insane.
It's
What
insane.
happened with that football coach, though?
Right, what
It doesn't
happens?
matter.
It doesn't.
I guess that's the ongoing.
That's the ongoing. Yeah, that's the like inter.
That's the fucking Archie Comics shit. Like,
Yeah,
that
that's
we
the
gotta get in
drama.
here.
That's the
Yeah.
human interest stuff. You're here
Right.
for sci-fi and fantasy and stuff, but
Right.
like we need to get the kids in there. Like we need somebody who looks and acts like the reader's older brother.
I don't think you understand. Only children are reading this.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
Except for all the adults who are. But yes.
You know what? It's better than friggin' Aunt May storylines. So,
Yeah. Well, the Aunt May storylines are few and far between. But yeah, Fantastic Four, This Man, This Monster, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee, it's a classic story, and I think it holds water. It's a fun exercise. You can learn how to write as a result of it, but more importantly, you can be entertained by it as well. And it's part of this collection, which is probably out of print again, but if it isn't, it's in the comments down below. Pick up a copy if you want. I saw this elsewhere. I ordered it immediately upon it being reprinted so I could get it because I've wanted it as a thing forever. I was just, I need this issue, and I was hunting for it, and it was like, it used to be sensibly priced and available, and then, because it's Marvel's like, oops, trade's out of print. Well, F that. But people were like, these epic collections are supposed to be available because they're cheap reprintings of old classic stories. Why is this one? Why are you reprinting stories with like Sue Storm and the Boob Window from the 90s, but you're not reprinting The Coming of Galactus? And they're like, oh yeah, okay, fine.
Gotta love that boob
What?
window.
Why
though.
would we do that?
Well, and especially because I don't need a collection of the Boob Window. I already have the individual issues because those are valueless. You can get those in any back issues bin. Because they were printed in the 90s. They already printed 10 million copies of that book.
You really should have read the last line of this book.
Oh,
because
yeah.
It's amazing.
Well, Reed Richards learns that... Reed Richards imparts the lesson, the moral lesson of the story at the end.
Yeah, he will never know what monstrous things he had done in the past, or what monstrous plans he had made, but one thing is certain, he paid the full price, and he paid it like a man.
Man monster. Boom. This man, this monster. See, you think it's about Ben. It's actually about this unnamed character.
About the guy with no name.
Oops, we forgot one.
About whom we know very little other than that he's a man.
And smart.
Yeah, that's
And looks weird.
It looks very weird.
very weird.
Oh, and doesn't think things through.
Yes.
And also doesn't know how his own technology works.
Was part of his motivation that he does look so weird?
No,
it's like,
he's
I
not
look
I'm so gross. I might as well
gross
be the
and
thing.
weird. I might as well be the thing.
No, he's smart. No,
This is terrible. I'm a hideous monster, and I don't even have the excuse of being the thing.
I'm not even
right.
strong.
I don't even have powers.
Yeah. No, his whole motivation is, I'm as smart as Reed Richards, but I'm not as successful. F that.
And that's bullshit.
So the only way I can be that is if I impersonate his best friend,
Yes.
infiltrate the building,
Yep.
and steal his stuff.
Yes.
Apparently.
Yeah, or kill him.
Or whatever. It's not clear.
Right?
And Reed even says, we don't even know what his plan was, and we'll never know.
Which I like to think is like, it's meta commentary of Stan Lee being like, I don't know what Jack was thinking.
I don't even know if he knew what he was. I don't know if the character knew what he was thinking when he went in there.
I don't know.
He was
All I
like,
know is the issue's
step
done.
1, impersonate the thing. Step 2, step 3,
Profit.
yeah, have my revenge.
Yeah, revenge. Okay. What? Yeah, no, it's just, I think it's Stan going, I don't know what he was going to do. He built a
I don't know, who
machine.
cares?
I just
Yeah.
saw machines in his coat closet. I don't know.
I just fill the words in later.
Right.
I
That's
don't know,
so-
man.
You know what? That's life. Sometimes you don't find
Sometimes
out
you
what
don't
people
know.
were thinking or
It's
what they
actually
were going to
really
do.
grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually really
know?
subversive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when someone, kills a bunch of people and then kills themselves. You don't get to find out
don't get, like, a
what they were
manifesto.
thinking.
Yeah.
They don't leave anything behind. It's like,
Nope.
that's weird.
Yeah, it's messed up. People are crazy. Just chalk it up to that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, no, it's a terrifying
dark.
world. Yeah, it's a world with space gods that don't give a crap about us, that eat us, or have doomsday devices just hanging out in their on their bureau.
This is my own existential dread that I put into the pages.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's my fear of death on every page.
I mean, the ultimate nullifier is a metaphor for nuclear weapons, so yeah.
oh yeah, no, definitely.
It's like, yeah, we gotta live with that shit.
yeah, just live with it. Try
Yeah.
to
I
enjoy
can't
this.
put this genie back in the bottle.
No,
Yeah.
here's this comic book about these 4 fantastic characters. I guess that could distract you from your own demise for a few seconds.
Unless I put the demise of the entire existence of the world into the comics, and then I'm just, oh god, it's all a circle.
Oh, but you see, they handled it okay, so maybe you can too. I guess, for 12 cents.
Because I'm not.
Well, it's because I'm a fully grown man. Because I read about it every goddamn day in the real newspaper. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of Back Issues from Sal.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading.
It looks to me like the Inhumans are pretty important. I keep seeing them.
That's because Stan Lee just invented them, so he's like really pushing them.
Interesting. I did not realize they were around that long. You hate them so much, I assumed they had to have been newer.
No, I hate them because they're boring and stupid.
So they've always been there. They predate the X-Men.
Yeah, no.
Oh. Well, so they must be around the same time because this is very early, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, but the X-Men go away and then come back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but the Inhumans don't occupy that space. It's only
No.
when Fox owned the X-Men movie rights
Right.
that the Inhumans supplanted
Right, they're
the
just
X-Men.
different. So the Inhumans, they're just there. They just never quite go away.
Yeah,